This video is going to be about what I have come to find as the fastest and easiest way to start a fire in this high efficiency stove. First, you need to clean off the window because radiated heat is a great source of heat for the room. So a simple paper towel folded in fourths, damp, not sopping wet, and then you can wipe the inside of the window to clean it up. Now, oftentimes it doesn't come off with a simple wiping, so what you do is you add a little ash, just a touch of ash, and then start scrubbing on the window. And you have to do both corners usually to get it nice and clear. And this can take anywhere from a minute to 5 minutes. You just fold over the paper towel to a cleaner section and then go back and forth across it again, and then it ends up being nice and clean. That's step one. Step two is cleaning out all the old ash from the fire pit into a metal bucket. What I use is a kitty litter scoop, and I have 2 angle irons to keep the wood up off of the bottom. You can just take those out. Now, you do want to make sure that the coals are cooled off. Now, if they're not cooled off, it's not necessarily bad, but then you don't want to use a plastic sweeping pan to put it in. I already know that the coals are cool because I've done this enough times and I've waited a long enough time that I know that they're clean. So you just take a scoop and you put it over the bucket and tap until the ashes are mostly all out. And then now you have really good coals for starting the next fire. You just put that in your dustpan and you go on to the next, and you keep scooping and cleaning. Alright, I've separated out all the coals, and now step 3 is to restock the stove and get ready to start. So I just dump the coals right in the middle, right here, and then collect them in a little bit of a pile using the angle irons from each side, there and there. Now, you just leave them in a pile up close to the front, and then we're going to create the new fire. Now, this is just some scrap wood that I collect, and I put that as a base. And I found the easiest way to make a fire is to do a box formation. So you have one layer on the bottom that goes in that direction, and then above it, in the next layer, you come towards you like this, and you just stack these in there. This should light pretty nicely. Now, the next step is to light the fire. You don't actually even need to have paper. I oftentimes will stick paper down here to help it go a little bit faster, but I'll just show you, you don't. Butane torch is needed to light the coals on fire, and you just need to light this middle section. Now what I have is a stainless steel pipe, 1/4 inch, and what's connected to it is an air mattress inflator. And then when I turn it on, I also have a variac there, so I have a lower voltage so it doesn't have a very high airflow right there. But then when I press that and turn it on, you can hear the blower. Then what you have is you have a blast furnace. I can turn this off now and it will actually catch and go. There's not much of a flame now started, but it will definitely grow. And you don't want to leave this on for long periods of time because that is a blast furnace. That's how they're made. and that can actually melt steel. You can exceed the temperature of the stove. So I'll go ahead and close the door and then leave the latch open so you have some airflow in there, and open the vent up all the way. Now I always monitor the stove. I have 2 of these temperature monitors, and I try to keep it within the green region, and you don't want to go outside that green region. You use the vent control on the bottom to control that. Just starting the fire, it needs extra air, so you leave it open a crack here, and you leave the vent fully open right there. Now another important thing is the wood has to be dry. So I always use the wood that's been stacked closest to the fireplace after this starts burning down, to then add it to it. It produces less smoke and you get less coating on your screen, and it just burns cleaner and nicer. And you can kind of already see that with no effort on my part, very little effort, we already have the coals going and the fire is starting. I'll give it another minute or so, and then I'll turn that off. I don't have the blower on usually for more than a couple of minutes at most. Sometimes I'll turn the blower on to reignite it when I put another log in. I try to pull the coals towards the front, and then put the new wood in, and then put on the blower just for a minute or less. Okay, looks like the fire's going now with the door slightly ajar, and you can already feel that this top surface is getting warm, so it is time to close the door all the way. We will leave the vent open until the temperature comes up. The temperature is very cold now still. It hasn't even registered. It's barely above 100. It's come off the bottom, but it's still too cold, and the fan is not turning. The fan will start turning here in another minute or so, and then we can, 5 minutes or so after that, then we'll start slow closing the vent. And once it gets into the green band, I usually close the vent all the way. Well, the fan's starting to turn. The temperature's still very low. You can still touch the top surface. It's warm. It's quite warm. You can't hold your hand there. But the fan's, and you'll see how fast the fan turns as soon as it starts getting really hot. But there's some nice heat coming off of the fireplace now. Now the fire's going really well. The fan's on high. You can feel the heat coming off it. The top surface is now in the green section for the temperature gauge, so we want to close this. I just go ahead and close it all the way and let it go for a couple of hours, and then we'll start adding wood. And then the next set of wood I add is the longer wood, and I enter it at horizontal wood. And then that's it. That's how you make a fire. It's very quick and very easy, and the entire house can be heated just with this stove the entire winter. Thanks.